Dr. Shannon M. Clark here. I am a double board certified ObGyn and Maternal-Fetal Medicine specialist, and I am going to talk about something that I never talked about before on social media, and it's actually very personal. There's one thing that I see with my patients and see on social media that is very, very triggering for me, and that is seeing someone breastfeeding or pumping or any pictures or videos of it on social media. And before y'all come after me about this, let me explain. I had a very, very difficult time after having my twins. I was not able to breastfeed. They were in the NICU for 6 weeks and they just never latched. My son did somewhat, but not really. They were bottle fed, but I did pump for several months and feed them breast milk that way. And every time I pumped, I felt like I dropped into a bottomless pit, and I dreaded every time I pumped. So I have this thing with my own breast, actually, that is very triggering for me because that experience was so intense that if I see someone pumping or breastfeeding or even or in the room with it, it makes me feel a certain way. Now, I'm not being mean to patients or anything like that, but I have a physical response to it. And seeing it on social media does the same thing, and I have to quickly swipe. Now, I was pregnant in 2016, had them in September of 2016. And it wasn't until several months later, or maybe even longer than that, a year or two, that I realized what I was experiencing. And what I was experiencing is something called DMER, Dysphoric milk ejection reflex. I had no idea what it was. Now, DMER is a condition in which lactating individuals who are either breastfeeding, now most of the literature on this topic is in those who are breast or test feeding, but it can also happen in those who are pumping. And what happens is just before the milk ejection reflex, you can get very, very intense negative emotions that last a few minutes. So start just before the milk ejection reflex and then last for a few minutes. There's no real quantification, but it's not like hours, it's minutes. Now, one of the earliest case studies on DMER occurred in 2011, and the first published literature review was done in 2021. And as of today, there's only 18 total published articles that I found in ObGyn. So this is still a very understudied and not fully understood condition. So don't come at me that I didn't know what it was, because I was pregnant and pumping in 2016, and I had never heard of it. And it's thought to occur due to an inappropriate dopamine activity that is occurring at the time of the milk ejection reflex. And the dysphoria can include an unpleasant or uncomfortable mood, sadness, depressed mood, anxiety, irritability, or restlessness. Now, it can occur during the first letdown or all letdowns. I had it with every single one, and it was, there's no words to describe how it made me feel. But I just wanted to talk about it to let people know that it does exist and it's a real thing. And what the literature so far has found is just acknowledging it and educating the patient on it goes a long way. So, does this sound like something you had? Tell me about it in the comments.